Hi, I'm Jimmy, and this is my wife Trish. The purpose of this video is to talk about our European honeymoon on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas. We'll talk about both the ship itself and its Mediterranean itinerary, and give you our thoughts on what we liked about the trip and things we learned along the way to better help you plan your European cruise. We'll focus on the excursions we took and things we experienced on the boat. We won't spend too much time on the ship itself, as there's plenty of video tours and walkthroughs out there already. Our ports of call were Napoli, Barcelona, Palma De Mallorca, Marseilles, and La Spezia. These are just our opinions, so take that for what it is. We have not been compensated in any way for this video. We just wanted to share our experiences and create an awesome video of our honeymoon. Another note is that I'm a professional photographer and filmmaker by trade, and while I own several pro cameras, I wanted to see what I could capture without lugging around gear, so all of the footage and photos were shot on an iPhone. Please enjoy our video, and like and subscribe if you appreciate it. We flew into Rome from New York and arrived in Civitavecchia on a Thursday morning. After checking in our room, we explored the ship. If you're not familiar with the Wonder of the Seas, let us tell you, it is magnificent. It boasts all the countless dining rooms, pools, bars, and amenities that you would expect on a ship of this size. The ship is a brand new Oasis-class vessel and is adorned with some of the coolest technology, furniture, and art we've ever seen. The interior design is both stunning and functional. The stateroom we had was roomy and comfortable and was decorated especially for our honeymoon, which was a nice touch. It really is an impressive ship, and there's so much to explore that a week was hardly enough time to see it all.
I'm king of the world!
The next morning we had a few hours to kill before our excursion in Napoli, so we decided to venture into town for an authentic cappuccino and some world-famous Neapolitan pizza. Getting off the boat was simple and stress-free. They really make it a breeze getting off and on the ship. Our goal here was to eat some Neapolitan pizza, so we took around a few blocks to the downtown area, found a cool little cafe, got an authentic cappuccino, then found a pizzeria. Both were in a few blocks of each other. Both were incredible. After eating the best pizza we have ever had, it was back to the ship to meet up with our excursion tour. We opted to visit the ruins of Herculaneum instead of the more well-known ruins of Pompeii. The reason why is because Pompeii was a longer excursion and we wanted time to see the city of Napoli. Our tour was booked through Royal Caribbean and it was done by Aloci Brothers, and our guide Joe, or Jose, was excellent.
Why this house is important? Because you didn't see yet the daughter of Zeus. Zeus is everything. That's why he appeared like a rainbow between the two godships.
The ruins of Herculaneum are fascinating. We were blown away with how well preserved the ruins were, and our guide directed the tour to some of the coolest parts, providing context to what we were seeing, which was super valuable, as we wouldn't have known the significance of what we were looking at otherwise. The tour was moderately difficult, involving some steep inclines and declines on cobblestone streets, so if you have trouble walking, you may want to keep that in mind. After wrapping up the tour, we got back on the ship and enjoyed a beautiful sunset from our balcony and dinner in the main dining room. The next day was our one day at sea, so we rented a casita and relaxed all day. This was super nice. It had an on-call attendant named Alan, a cooler that came with 4 waters, extra towels. It got a little windy that day, so we grabbed our robes out of the room, which is kind of a nice hack. They were nice and cozy. I also rode the water slides, which were fun. I enjoyed the big orange one better than the blue or yellow ones, as the other slides were pitch dark inside and I got a little claustrophobic. One thing that stood out was the artwork. It's stunning. The art curators really did a good job of selecting photos and paintings that sparked the imagination and made each area feel fun and unique. Sunday we woke up in Barcelona and it did not disappoint. We opted to do the hop-on, hop-off double-decker bus tour, and it allowed us the opportunity to see the whole city. We stopped at Gaudí's Sagrada Familia, which was stunning. Unfortunately, we were not able to get into the cathedral as tours were booked up until the afternoon, so plan ahead if you want to see what it looks like inside. We wish we had had the time to do so. there, we hopped back on the bus and continued the tour of the city. We were blown away. It felt very clean, safe, had amazing art and architecture. Our last stop on the bus tour was at the Mirador del Paula Nacional, which had a stunning view from the other side of Barcelona. It also houses a museum of modern art, but at that point our day was spent and all aboard was approaching, and so we had to get back to the ship, but we would like to go see more of Barcelona for sure. That night we checked out the ice show, which was entertaining. We appreciated the production value and the talent of the figure skaters. The next morning we arrived in Palma de Mallorca and took a guided tour of the city, which involved seeing the Palacio Real de la Moneda and taking a stroll down the streets of Mallorca. Our guide was a bit hard to understand and the tour group moved a bit slow for our liking, but with limited time in the city, it was nice to have someone to point us to where to go. The tour allowed a little time to explore, which we used to get some delicious crepes, a tiramisu gelato, and a coffee frappe from a local street vendor. From there, the tour went to the mountain lookout known as Belvedere Castle. The view was great there, but there wasn't really much to do beyond snap a few photos, so the tour left after about 15 minutes, and we were back on the ship before 1 p.m. That evening was the formal night, so we dressed in our best and got a drink from the Bionic Bar, which was neat, if maybe a bit kitschy. We also got some photos done by one of the onboard photographers.
Stand behind him.
And attended the Tap Factory show, which kind of still seemed to be feeling its way out. Nothing wrong with it. Pacing just seemed a little bit slow and I wasn't particularly loud. The next day we pulled into Marseille. The views on the way in were incredible. The bridges, the mountains, the trees, they were all so beautiful. And we opted to do a tour of Cassis, which involved a lengthy bus ride. The bus drove through the city of Marseille, pointing out some of the spots along the way. The bus continued through the mountains, which were dotted with countless beautiful vineyards and more stunning vistas. Traveling up a windy mountain road that was totally jaw-dropping. The bus brought the group to the top of a magnificent cliff for a photo opportunity overlooking Cassis. From there, the bus headed down the mountain and dropped us off at a little tourist train which took us into the village of Cassis, as the bus could not go there. Cassis was a picturesque seaside fishing village with countless restaurants and shops. We only had about an hour there, so we stopped for lunch. We were not disappointed. We enjoyed the local cuisine, which included mussels and a Provence specialty, cod served with the garlic aioli. It was delicious. After lunch, we headed back to the port of Marseille, which was about an hour drive through more vineyards, making a beeline for the port back to the ship. That night, we again ate at the main dining room. We saw a comedy show in the attic, which was funny, pretty standard cruise fare. We also caught the tail end of the aqua show, which involved swimming and high diving choreographed to electronic music and laser light projections. That morning, we sat in the solarium to watch the sunrise and eat breakfast before arriving in La Spezia and joining our excursion. We chose the tour that went to Lucca and Pisa in lieu of going to Florence, as Florence was a 2-hour train ride away and we didn't feel it would be enough time to do the city justice. We had the same tour company as we had in Herculaneum, and the tour guide Antonella was also notably good. The tour began with about an hour drive through the picturesque Italian mountains, where we passed marble quarries along the mountainside in the Renaissance city of Lucca, Lucca is a beautiful city and offers the quintessential Italian experience with its narrow streets filled with shops, restaurants, and countless bicycles. After enjoying a guided tour, where our guide pointed out examples of medieval and Roman architecture, we stopped at a street cafe at the Piazza de Antefietro and enjoyed an authentic Italian meal of bruschetta, seafood risotto, and prosciutto with mozzarella that we will never forget. Once we were done with lunch, we walked to the outskirts of the city to take a quick photo atop the wall which encircles the city and was constructed during the Renaissance. From there, it was a half-hour drive to the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa and the Field of Miracles. This area was incredibly crowded with people jockeying to take photos and street vendors selling tacky souvenirs. We only had an hour or so we were not able to fully explore the area, but it was definitely stunning to see the beautiful marble buildings, even if the crowds were a bit daunting. We got a gelato and some beverages at a cafe and met up with our group for a ride back to the ship. It was about an hour and a half and offered the same panoramic views as the way there. Once we returned, it was time to pack up our room in preparation to disembark. Once that was set, we watched the sunset at the View Bar, which is on the pool deck, had one more meal in the dining room, purchased some souvenirs from the shops on the Royal Promenade. The next morning, we once again watched the sunrise from the solarium. We were filled with bittersweet joy as it was time to head home, exhausted from all that we had done in the past week.